So welcome to the club. I know you was trying to hold on to that last vestige of youth for a while now.
Yeah, I'm trying to get into it.
You got to embrace it.
Exactly, baby. Because it's like,
I don't know why you touched it.
Which is what he should have just done this morning.
You jump on the phone like these.
He sold his old house. Completely paid.
Yeah, we got the partner. How you doing this morning, man? You look a little exasperated. You all right?
Killing each other for the phone, man. I'm like, no, man, that's not cool.
So what? I'm just fixing my camera, man. I got to look good.
You got kind of lukewarm on me about breakfast burrito and shit, and had your meal out the way. Now we got to listen to your ass over there crunching munch and fiddle faddle again and shit.
I don't think they make fiddle foul anymore, but
Oh, yeah, they do. I thought they still do.
100 calories.
Family Dollar and Dollar General carry fiddle faddle.
gotta believe it.
Well, that's a great segue into what we're getting ready to do then, because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'd be stuck in a time warp if I walked to somewhere and saw fiddle faddle. They sell lemon heads and red hot too.
Yes, sir.
They got Red Hots, Mary Jane, Squirrel Up.
Baked beans, baked beans.
Johnny apple treats, hot tamales. Yeah, all that shit.
If you eat a box of Boston baked beans, your whole left side gonna go numb. I don't know.
I love Boston beans.
Yes, sir.
You remember them hard big bowl candies that turned into bubble gum?
Yeah.
Now that's what you break your teeth on right there.
Jawbreakers.
Jawbreaker?
Yeah.
All right. Are we ready?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Ask your brother. He finished his breakfast.
All right. Mark, you ready?
I'm ready, man. I've been ready.
All right. D, you ready?
Yes, sir.
G, you ready?
I'm on.
All right. All right. So where we're at? We're at 15:30. Makes it easier for me. All right. So listen, this is one of the things I really, really like doing. Out of all the stuff that we do, that is doing these reviews of movies. So this one was suggested by Glove. Title of the movie is They Cloned Tyrone. It stars John Boyega, who is obviously from the only thing I really saw him in before this was Star Wars, I think. I hadn't really seen him in anything else. Of course, Jamie Foxx, who in this one, I'm not a real big Jamie Foxx fan, but I really liked him in this movie. He did. It was much better. I've seen Jamie Foxx in a lot of other stuff before, and he's always kind of playing something that's loosely based on somebody that we know, like when he did the Ray Charles movie. So it was like he was imitating Ray Charles, but this one was pretty good. I guess he was really imitating the pimp too. So John Boyega, Jamie Foxx, and what I can't pronounce her name. Is it Tiana Paris or?
Yeah, Tayana Paris.
Tayana Paris, who was real good in it too. She plays Yo-Yo. Was very, very surprised when I saw Kiefer Sutherland as Nixon. Kind of. I was like, that kind of threw me for a loop when I saw him. And then I'm gonna tell you right now, I could have had 6 or 7 more scenes with my man David Allen Greer as the preacher, because he is always funny in everything he does. I think, at least I really like David Allen Greer, his acting, his comedy. All right, so I think we can start like when I send out the stuff to you guys this week. So I think we can just start off with kind of some general thoughts about it. G, since you suggested it, I want to start with you. What are your general thoughts about the movie?
I love the movie. I watched it twice last week, so that would have been my third viewing of the movie. The casting was excellent. They did me a huge favor by casting David Allen Greer as the preacher. I immediately went back to Martin and Reverend Lonnie Love. It I can understand. So I had my best friend here watch it, and he hated the movie. Absolutely hated it. But that's
what was his reason?
First off, he's a little slow. So, you know, he didn't understand all the subtle nuances of the movie. And he's not a real big fan of, he's an action guy. He likes a whole bunch of shoot 'em up, bang bang movies and shit. So, when you have to sit and watch a movie and follow it completely through, because you'll miss something. This is the same guy that didn't like The Usual Suspects. Because if you turn away, you miss something. And then at the end of the movie, when they're wrapping it all up for you and stuff, you miss that. And you're too lazy to go back and watch again. So, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I loved it. I loved it. I loved it. And well, we'll speak on some other things later. But I loved it.
All right. Let's go to Derek. What do you think?
Okay, so originally I said I didn't like it. I think I may have been too hot. Yeah. So that's why I responded the way I did initially. But I must admit, I've watched it 3 times and I have been dying laughing. It just got, it was just one line after another, and it was just funny. And then some other thing I'll capture later, how to me, it was almost like a spoof of so many different movies just pooled into one that you can extrapolate stuff from and be like, oh, wait a minute, this is a little of that, a little this. It was entertaining, but that initial one, again, I think I was too high.
Yeah.
It didn't do anything for me. But the second and third time, I was just dying laughing. I could not stop laughing.
Yeah. It was good. It was thought provoking. Mark. And you're on mute.
The movie was okay.
Oh, Jesus.
It was okay. It wasn't Jamie Foxx, for me, made the movie. I think he was perfectly cast for the part that he played. But I was a little confused at the beginning, and then I got really interested in the middle. And then toward the end, it kind of summed everything up, but it was all right. I'm not going to be a rah, I love this movie, but it was okay. I was able to get into it. So
I think the reason that I really, really like the movie is because it did something that other movies of this type tried to do, right? So I think you had the same type of vibe in the Jordan Peele movie, Get Out.
Yep.
Same type of vibe, and there's another one throwing it. Same type of vibe in Us or They that Jordan Peele did.
can I put one in?
Sure.
That as far as the spoofs and all of that? Now, what I'm telling y'all, because I just want to listen to y'all, but D said, it was so many spoofs. And when it got, I mean, are we going to go into the meat and potatoes of the movie now, or are we going to wait?
No, let's
Okay.
let it flow. Go ahead.
All right, so I chuckled at Jamie Foxx at the very beginning of this because, like I said, he was perfectly cast for this. Then when they went to the restaurant and with the chicken and all of that, Undercover Brother.
Yeah.
You remember that? What was the source of Undercover Brother to get it to everybody? It was the chicken.
Mhm.
So I died laughing at that part right there. And then the part with they kept saying there's a elevator to Trap House. Man, I couldn't stop laughing at that stuff right there. So it had its parts for me. And then the most intriguing thing too, because I tried to get a lot out of this. Y'all said something about Kiefer Sutherland. Another movie I went in was Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And who played in that movie? Who was the lead in that movie?
His dad was the lead actor.
Donald Sutherland was the lead in that movie. So I just started putting stuff together. So the spoof thing, yes, that I got a lot out of that right there.
Yeah. So I guess, and I'll ask you, G, to start. Is this blaxploitation or is it sci-fi?
I think it was.
Or was it kind of both?
I think it was both. I think it was a good blend of both because you had to figure out, So if you're looking at the set and their clothing and stuff, you're thinking, this is a 70s black exploitation movie.
That's the confusion.
Yeah. Then if you're listening to the soundtrack, you're listening to the way they talk and stuff, then you can get confused as to 70s, 90s, is this current? So I think, and I think that was intentional. I've been reading some reviews and stuff, and I think that was intentional. That kind of complex merging of 2 or 3 different time periods is what the director was going for. So yeah.
Yeah, you think he was trying to do that, like just to demonstrate? Obviously, it was to pull you into different eras and understand where Black people were during those eras. But it was almost like he was doing that to say that this stuff is kind of universal. It's for eternity. It's everything wrapped up into one thing, right? Because you heard them talking about the music, the car that Fontaine drove when it first started. The movie. I was watching a thing on YouTube with the director Jewel Taylor, and he was saying that they shot it on film instead of digitally. They shot it on film, so it just looked a little bit more kind of 70s, kind of rough, kind of raw. But they had cell phones. One of them, Yo-Yo was talking about Bitcoin at one point, or the blockchain, which is very current. And even her name, when Jamie Foxx said she was Yo-Yo because she always come back, I'd be hard pressed to talk to a younger person right now and describe to them or say something like Yo-Yo, and like, you don't even know what that means or what it is, besides you're on your own.
And I don't think these kids had even seen Yo-Yos. I can remember for years, all I wanted for my birthday and Christmas was Dunkin' Yo-Yos, man. The ones that light up.
They used to on WTCG when I was growing up. Used to be they used to have this guy doing the Dunkin' Yo-Yo thing, right? And he had the butterfly. He could rock the baby, do all that stuff. All right.
Yeah, walk the dog,
the whole shooting match around the world.
So y'all thinking of Yo-Yo as far as a toy? I'm thinking about Yo-Yo the rapper, and there are a lot of women that are referred to as Yo-Yo, like Yolanda. you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now the confusing part when it first came on, I'm thinking, okay, like you said, it might be a 70s blaxploitation movie in the 2000s. But then when Jamie Foxx said, I was Player of the Year in 1995,
Right.
so that pulled me in right there that it was going to be, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. Hey, so Derek, let me ask you this question. There was a lot of trying to get my questions together here. So there's a lot of stuff that pointed forward and pointed back to certain eras. What did you notice about anything dealing with the laboratory or the folks down there? Because I there was a few things down there that I wanted to point out about how it looked, but give me some general thoughts on it.
Okay, I'm gonna have to tie it in with this. Like I said earlier, I thought it was a spoof of several different movies, some of which Mark has mentioned, but I saw a little bit of a Manchurian Candidate in there. Coming to America, Groundhog Day, Dolomite, The Walking Dead, The Matrix, you know, having an architecture and, you know, they trying to get there. It was parts of a Dave Chappelle skit. Reminded me a little bit of the old movie Hollywood Shuffle, Pootie Tang, Boys in the Hood kind of thing. Westworld, if you ever watched that on HBO, where they were resetting people, you know, these characters that they had made. Of course, Get Out, which was mentioned earlier. So it was just a lot of that, and then it tied into the black exploitation films that I watch every weekend. So to me, it encapsulated a lot of all of that, and what was going on down in the lab took me back to, I don't know if you guys ever watched Man in the High Castle. It was a little bit of that with the propaganda, and you got the sign. I don't know if you guys noticed the signs that were up down there.
Yeah. So
a lot of that.
That's what I was trying to get to. Some of the current stuff. Man in the High Castle was one that I had written down here. How you were going through time, but they had these alternative timelines.
Yes.
Throughout the whole thing. Yeah. So that's good. So let me ask you this question, G. So you think that we as viewers and fans were just at some point started looking for these things that relate to other movies, or you think that the director actually put, because some of them are obvious, right? Some of them are that, you know, this is just a callback to some other blaxploitation movie. But just from what all these things that D just ran out, that'd be a lot to intentionally try to put through.
I didn't go into the movie looking for any of that stuff, you know. So for me, when I noticed it was, you know, just that aha moment, you know. It when you start talking about the labs, you know, I'll throw another movie in there that it just automatically came to my mind was Austin Powers and Goldmember. You know, it gave me that kind of feel. You know, so you know, I think I hope it was intentional that the director or the screenwriters kind of injected those kind of subtle nuances into the whole movie. And there again is the point I was trying to make to my homeboy, is that, you know, if you go into this movie, and I told him, I said, you know, this starts kind of dark, you know, the lighting was dark, the tone was dark. I said, but you have to give it some time. So if you go in the first 5-10 minutes and stuff, you're already saying that you don't like this movie. You miss all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so I think you know, for me, it was definitely, I didn't go into the movie looking for it. And I was glad that I hadn't done any research watching it the first time. And I really didn't do any research until after I watched it the second time. And then I went back and I was like, okay, yeah. And I saw where I missed a few of those. But I was pleasantly surprised that you know, in their own way, they were paying homage to some of their favorite movies.
Can I throw another movie in there that kind of y'all may not agree or okay the what is when you have the funerals the
Revamp?
no the program, what do you call it,
The program?
no it's something, it's called something else. Look at they always ask you to look through it, you know.
Obituary?
Obituary. That obituary was sitting up there, right? That
Breaking up, you're freezing, Mark. All right, I'll let him come back. So before we get into the categories, there was just one more. I don't know if you guys ever seen this movie, but this was Mark. You froze up.
okay.
Talking about the obituary. Go ahead.
I think I'm still freezing, man.
We got you.
I got you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Was that a picture of his little brother?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. So they kept referring to the little brother in the movie. That's another movie is Ray. That's what happened in Ray, where he kept going back to when he was responsible for his little brother's death.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of callbacks. I think we could probably just go on for hours with this, but there's only one that I saw that I thought was very obscure, that was a terribly deep cut, and you know, I don't even know if you guys noticed it or not. I'm pretty sure you saw this movie. So there's a movie that came out in the early '80s. It was called Spies Like Us, and it was Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase. Yeah.
Chevy Chase.
You remember when they went out to the desert and they were getting ready to go down in the elevator, and BB King was standing there, and he says, "You gentlemen want a Pepsi?" Right? And then they hit that machine on there, and then that's when the thing came out, and they went down into the basement.
Yeah.
There was a soda machine in the trap house, right next to the elevator.
Yeah.
Which reminded me of Spies Like Us, and that's when I was like, I don't know if that was the reason that was there, but I kind of chuckled when I saw it. I thought that was pretty.
Hey, Undercover Brother had, when they went to the barbershop,
Yep.
they had a trap elevator in there.
Yeah, but the trap elevator in Undercover Brother was like 5 feet.
5 feet.
It was like below the floor.
And that was another critique from my homeboy. He was like, how did they build a whole lab system underneath the Glen? Like, dude, let it go. Just go with it.
You got to suspend disbelief for a while. Man.
Yeah. Now it's a movie. I understand what you say. It's a movie.
Oh,
Yeah, the same way Vin Diesel can drive a car for Cliff with a safe behind it, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, hey, so let's just get into the categories. All right, so we gotta have like 3 or 4 categories. The first one I want to talk about is best scene. Right, I know we can probably do this the whole time, right? But I just only want to get like just a couple from each one of us, right? So I'll start, Mark. I'll start with you. What do you think the best scene was?
The best scene for me is when they kind of realized when they were in the restaurant and everybody started laughing, and Jamie kind of figured that it was something going on, and they figured it was the chicken that was the distribution thing to go,
Yeah,
that was passed around. So that pulled me into to just see what was going on.
yeah. It was also, and I mean, this is when it really started getting the stereotypical stuff, right? So it was the chicken. It was the hair dye, the perm, not the hair dye, the stuff that get permed. grape juice.
Grape juice. But hey,
How-
the grape juice, and that's when David Allen Greer and all them came in. You know, grape juice is used, is it on first Sundays?
Communion Sunday, yeah.
Communion Sundays, they'll use it for that. And that's a big distribution right there in churches.
Yeah, that's how I think that's how he pulled in the religious part of it. You know
Right.
how important religion is to the black community, and you think that you're getting all this kind of sage advice from an all-knowing being, but you're really just ingesting this stuff that's got to make you docile. Which I thought was good too. I mean that kind of been overdone, but just showing that big bottle of grape juice, the chicken, then the stuff that make make your hair straight. And then you notice too when Fontaine pulled up to the hotel looking for Slick Charles the first time, it was all purple, right? And that's they connect that shade with.
And I wanted to pull in a reference from The Wire, but then I found out his name was Slick Charles. I thought he was saying Slim Charles.
Slim Charles.
Yeah.
He said Slim Charles. I didn't get up.
I would still make that leap. I would still say, that name came from Slim Charles.
I thought it was a pimp named Slickback reference.
Yeah,
Could be that one too.
that's another good
All
one.
right, Mark, you got any more favorite scenes?
No, I'm good with.
All right, G, best scene.
I tried to figure out what my favorite scene was, but I figured that my favorite scenes all contain some of my favorite lines. So
Okay.
I didn't necessarily have a favorite scene. They kind of coupled together. So I'll wait until we get to.
So you gonna wait the best quote?
Best quote.
All right, okay. D, favorite scene.
Yeah, I don't know if I have a favorite scene, but I like when they were in the lab and Jamie took that hit of that what he thought was cocaine. Bro, I was done.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I thought that the scene, it's always that culmination kind of scene that you have in a movie that kind of wraps everything up. But when Fontaine saw the doctor who was actually him,
Mhm.
and then he saw that bodyguard again who was actually him, and then he started kind of piecing everything together, and the way that the doctor started when they showed those clones on the back wall there when they were all in that tube, and it went from like the darkest to the lightest. And I could have sworn, maybe it was me just looking for stuff, but I could have sworn that one of those guys in that thing was Asian. I'm gonna have to go back and look at it again. I kept trying to stop it, but the movie was shot on film, so it's kind of grainy. But I could have sworn one of those guys was Asian. One of the lighter skinned guys was Asian as you look down that line. Then just trying to figure out some.
That scene put me in the mindset of I can't remember. I think it was Alien 3 when Ripley's walking through the lab. She realizes that they did all these clones of her, and then she finds the one that's still alive, I think. And and then she sets the whole lab on fire. I think that's the one with Winona Ryder in it. And when they what's the guy's name? He played the captain of the ship, and they bought the ship so that they could use the passengers that were in suspended animation to be hosts for the aliens. So it put me in the mindset. It put me in the mindset of that too.
Okay. Yeah. that was my favorite scene. I think that was the one that kind of brought everything together. All right, so best quotes. I'll go first because Mark already said the one that I thought was the best quote. So I'll just tell you what mine was. When he said, when somebody said when they were going to when they saw that the truck pull up and they the black car and they picked the guy up and then they went into the house looking for him, and he said there was an elevator in the trap house. I was like, okay, that may be T-shirt worthy right there. He said there's an elevator in the trap house. Okay, all right. Go ahead, Derek.
I got
Best
two.
quote.
I got these here are tied for best quote for me. When Yo-Yo was telling him that the guy cut off the head of his dick, and she's like, "What am I supposed to do with that?" And he's looking at me like this, and he was like, "Well, you look like what you are, a hoe." He's sitting there just munching. And then when he told oh boy, he said, "Nigga, you from Golden Christmas Pears." And I'm like, I was done, man. I mean, yeah.
I'm telling you, man, Jamie Foxx, that is Wesley Snipes, and they call me Dolomite. Wesley stole the movie with he had all the best lines. Jamie Foxx had all the best lines. Him and Yo-Yo had a couple, but Jamie Foxx had all the best lines in this movie.
Yeah. Jamie was good in this movie.
And
right.
interject this one thing. Did you guys catch towards the end? Again, it went back to the not only just the black exploitation, but it went to a whole nother level about our community at the end where we're in front of the check cashing place and da 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 da. All the stuff was happening in front of the check cashing place. What was it back in? What was it? I think it was Bernie Mac. Check cashing place. Liquor store. Cashing, da, 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 da.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Liquor store, gun store, liquor store, gun store, gun store, liquor store. Wait a minute, what you thinking me?
I thought that resonated, and just to tie in something even on a deeper level, there are astrophysicists that really think that there are like an infinite number of us, of you, that exist all simultaneously. And so I got a little bit of that out of it also because that Tyrone was everywhere, or whoever, of course they had different names wherever they were, but there's not just one of you.
Yeah, so that was the thing that kind of brought me to kind of the Man in the High Tower, because that theory that there are these exact duplicate versions of us in these other universes. One of the things is that they are doing different things, or like they're the version of us right now who are doing this exact thing. The only difference is that Mark is talking right now, and that there's something else going on. But yeah, I got that too, and because I looked that stuff up in preparation for this, there was this thing that came into my YouTube feed about different versions of us, and these astrophysicists talking about this stuff, which was pretty interesting. Or I may have shot on Netflix, one or two. But anyway, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Every version of Mark is still eating fiddle faddle.
Well, got a damn hair full of lemon heads.
It's sunflower seed shells on
Head all yellow.
Yeah, talking to somebody outside. No, I ain't used to work there. I didn't work there. All right, G, yours. Best quote.
Jamie Foxx. keep talking, goddammit. Keep talking, and I'm gonna slip out this Goodwill suit and slap that fake ass wig off your puny ass head with nothing but my Gucci boxers on, and I'll be back in this coat before it wrinkles. And you know I can do it. And you know what that put me in the mindset of? It's crazy. It's crazy. That took me back to Jungle Fever and Gator Purified. I don't know why it gave me that vibe. It just took me all the way back there. Jamie just he just made it for me, man. He really and like you, I have never ever. I'm a bigger fan of Jamie music. I mean Jamie Foxx the musician than Jamie Foxx the actor.
Yeah,
I love him in this fucking movie.
Yeah, that was you know what else? And I hate to even admit it to you because I had you know, said I would never watch this movie, and I dismissed it with extreme prejudice. But Django Unchained, once you actually watch it and understand it, what it is, and I saw Dick Gregory give a talk about Django Unchained, how he was saying that this is the first time you ever saw this type of person in that situation where there's no drugs, no, you know, well, there was guns, but he meant gun violence as it means in the contemporary sense. There's no, you know, you're not. He's just saying that when you look at it in the proper context, and I did, and I was like, you know what? That's a pretty good movie. That's a pretty good movie. So I shouldn't have said that because I did just that movie with Extreme Prejudice, and I'm not a Tarantino fan. You guys know that, but yeah, that was pretty good. All right, so you got any more, G?
No, I got a ton of them, but that's probably my favorite.
All right, give me one more. Give me one more.
Well, you know, when they were in the car, he's like, I'm an entrepreneur, you're a hoe, and he's a drug dealer. and the best one of all, the one that pulled me into the movie, he was like, man, I am hungry. I got to get something to eat. Let's get this dude something to eat. He's like, because my blood sugar, a pimp's blood sugar is low.
A pimp blood sugar getting low. See, that's what reminded me of pimp named Slickback.
Yeah,
You know, refer to themselves in the third person and the third vocational person. A pimp's blood is getting. That's like somebody said, you know, a police officer's blood is getting blood sugar running low. Yeah, that was a good one. I did think that was a good one. All right.
If y'all hear something in the background, it is storming like crazy here now.
Shit, I wish we could do some of that.
Heard it bang. Okay. All right. So, any more best quotes?
Nah.
Okay. All right. So, this is one of the parts part of these things I really like. Right. So, it's kind of the nitpick part where you see these inconsistencies, and I get to the point where I'm kind of looking for them now. But I just want to just go over just a couple of that I saw. All right. This was one which was kind of weird to me. You remember when Fontaine went to the hotel the first time, and then he was out there banging on the door, then Jamie, pimp the door, he closes it, and then he just kept banging. He kept saying, "Open the door." If you look at the doorknob, you know how doorknobs, the thing is like this, it's locked, like this, it's open. The door was always open, right? All he had to do was twist the handle and come in. But I guess that wouldn't have been cinematic enough. So that I don't know why shit like that. I don't know why I see stuff like that.
I don't know either.
Well, hey, remember you're in the hood. You just can't walk into anybody's place.
That's true too. He probably would have been got them things put on him earlier. A couple other things, right? So the Frog character. Remember, Frog was the guy outside of the liquor store,
The old man.
The old man. Did either of you guys notice how he poured the beer in his glass, and
Yep.
how much he poured, and what that reminded me of something. I'm just wondering if it reminded you guys or anything.
Because it was just a little bit at a time he was giving it.
Right. I thought that Frog was dead, or he represented death, or the death of that community, because I know you guys probably seen Cooley High before, and it all came from pour a little something out for the brother that couldn't be here.
Yeah.
He looked like he was just pouring just a little bit out every time in Frog's cup, kind of symbolizing that whole pour something out for the brother who couldn't be here. The next time you watch it, check that out. I think that's what that was all about.
I don't know, because the first 2 or 3 times he poured him something, you're right, it was like barely a shot. Then the last time, I think I remember the last time he gave him some, he actually poured like half a cup that time.
Right, but that was after he realized who he was, what he was doing to the community, and he had vowed to stop.
Okay.
So
Right.
I'm gonna watch it again tonight, because I think that movie is probably gonna be a heavy rotation in my house now, because I think it's a great movie. I think it's got something else going on deeper.
I think the brother being shot by the police, I think this had a whole lot to do with that, and what you just said about him being a drug dealer in the community.
Well, they say the intent was that the old Fontaine was trying to get, the reason he came up with the cloning and the drugs and all this stuff was to prevent that kind of violence from happening again. So the drugs, the juice, the cloning was all in an attempt to kind of get the Glen to assimilate into white society.
Right.
So, I think, that's where that was drawn from.
Yeah, because he said it's better to assimilate than to be annihilated or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah, but Mark, back to your point. So I think a lot of this stuff points to other stuff too, especially something that just happened, or happened recently that you can point back to. So you remember the part when he was talking about his brother being shot, and they just let him lay there in the street.
Right.
Yeah. So the same thing happened to that brother up in Ferguson. I think his name was it Ron Brown? Or
Yeah.
Anyway, one of the reasons that
Michael
Brown, right? One of the reasons that whole thing that it was such a flashpoint is because they left him lying in that hot street there for hours after he had been killed, and Fontaine said the same thing. He didn't say the same thing, but he said that that's what happened to his brother. They just left him lying there in the street after he had been shot by that cop.
And one more thing too, like Dee said, with one of the movies that a spoof of, like Groundhog Day, he kept knocking on the door, and he kept asking, who was it? His mother? Or it was somebody behind there.
His mother.
But they never showed her.
She was never there.
So she was never there.
She was never there. Okay.
Yeah. So.
But there was a voice coming from there.
It was a transmitter box that was in there that just kept playing the same recording.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. There was a point in the movie where he broke the door in, and he went in and saw that there was nobody in there. It was just a box. It was transmitted his mom's voice and stuff. So that was one of my nitpicks of the movie, but I'll get to that later.
Yeah. But I think that portion of it was just to illustrate that he was not who he thought he was. So we'll get to it. But Tyrone, the actual Tyrone, is a guy who I can only surmise that he was in L.A., right? Because it looked like a
California,
it looked like an L.A. scene, right? It looked like a
right? South Central,
like South Central. But Fontaine was just a clone of him. and we don't know who Tyrone's actual mother was or is, but she couldn't. That's the other thing, right? That's the one I'm going to get to. The Jim, I'm going to get to you because I got some notes written down here. Were women cloned? Did they clone any women? Right? Because Tyrone's mother could have easily been cloned and been in that room with Fontaine. I didn't see any women being cloned. All I saw were men.
Well, his brother wasn't cloned.
Yeah, they're only cloned. So obviously they're only cloned a select group of people.
But I thought when they broke into the lab and they let all those folks go, there were naked women down there. So were they cloned?
I thought those women were the ones who were like in the rooms, like where they had Yo-Yo and the girl who was first kidnapped in the beginning.
No, because I think they all came out acting like the guys and stuff, and they were trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay, so there were some. Okay,
I think there were.
That might have got past me. Okay. All right. Yeah. So that's one of my questions. So the last thing I got is Nixon, right? I guess Nixon was just the reason they used Nixon was just like a metaphor for the drug war and everything that the drug war, because Nixon was the one, or not necessarily Nixon, but his domestic advisor, who was a guy named John Ehrlichman, right? I think, was it John Ehrlichman? Ehrlichman was the one who actually kind of authored the whole war on drugs thing, and you see what that did to the black community. Anyway, I think that's why they used that his name is Nixon, which I thought was a little bit too much on the nose, but I guess you gotta kind of hold some people's hand and point them to them, maybe like your boy G.
Yeah.
Anyway, so those were the only kind of nitpicks and the other stuff I got. I do have one question at the end of all this, which is an unanswerable question, but we'll see. But G, go ahead with yours.
I appreciate the fact that the director was paying homage to probably some of their favorite movies. I just didn't like how closely how the lead characters in the movie resemble folks from other movies. The Slick Charles look took me back to Glass and Samuel L. Jackson, a movie I hate. So I didn't necessarily like that. Fontaine reminded me of Black from Moonlight.
I can see that.
And Moonlight is one of my and not I mean in speech, mannerisms, and look. It gave me that whole Black from Moonlight feel. So I wish it had been, just a little bit more, a little different or more original in that aspect. And like Mark said, you hadn't seen your mother. All you do is you hear your mother's voice every day, and you don't see her. She's watching her favorite show, and she can't come out. She's getting ready for work, and she can't come out. Every time you're at home, she's in the bedroom. When is she going to work? I would kick the doors in early, but again, it was a movie. So those were my only two kind of critiques of the movie.
Yeah, I think maybe his mother not being there maybe kind of represented absenteeism with parents and that particular cohort, if you will. So yeah, I get it. Yeah, I got you. All right, Derek. You got any nitpicks?
Not really nitpick. Now that I think about it, there was really you just spoke about absenteeism, and there was never any mention of the father being present, or ever being around. But
That's a good point.
what I also noticed in the movie, and I had put it in my notes, movie that it reminded me of, was that once again, the depiction of chaos and savagery that is associated with people of color in this country. And even when Kiefer Sutherland had that control to, tell, hey, shoot her, do this, and the way that our community just, again, have no value of life, just put no value on it and just snuff each other out. It just, that was something that kind of resonated with me that I did notice, and it was just a depiction again of, but I think it's a true depiction of a lot of our community. Still to this day, that's what's troubling us. Still to this day, we still have community. So where's the but yeah, I thought that it was real, and it's very real. So, I can't say whether I wanted to see it or didn't want to see it, but it brings you back, it brought me back to the reality. This is still a thing here.
Yeah. Okay, Mark?
Mine is with Kiefer Sutherland. Like you just explained, to me, he kind of represented the U.S. government, and they're basically like the puppet master, and you can only move if they make you move certain ways. So I appreciate it a little bit to kind of put that in the minds of the viewers. But it hurts to even see something like that anyway. But it's just a movie. It's a movie, but it still kind of hurts to see that, that things from the past still happen today.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Cool. So one more question for everybody, and this is kind of one of the one I love these unanswerable questions, right? So this is the last one, and G, I'll start with you. What do you think happened when Fontaine, Yo-Yo, and Slick Charles got to Memphis? Because as you remember, they they all figured they just go to Memphis, right? What do you think that happened when they got to Memphis?
They went to Orange Mound, hooked up with A-Ball and MJG.
Orange Mound, baby.
Got a case of that space age sipping, and they went and found the labs in the mound and freed all the folks in the mound.
They hooked up with
And so they're doing a whole tour of the South, major Black communities, and they setting folks free.
So Memphis was just the start, right? They figured they hit Memphis, then they gonna get to New Orleans.
They are like the Harriet Tubman of today.
Hey, they hooked up with 3-6.
Yeah.
They hooked up with what was his name? What was the movie where they had 3-6 Mafia and all of them?
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and Flow, got them together.
Yeah, that's what happened, man.
So they just went around. They went from city to city, black city to black city, right?
Little Rock,
Yeah. Nolan,
Shreveport,
Shreveport,
Houston, maybe not
Houston.
Houston.
Getting all the old school cars together, rims and
Birmingham. Yeah. And all over the South, man. Just letting black folks, man.
hey, and I'm looking at the movie and I'm like, the car that Fontaine, what was that?
I think it was a
I
Riviera.
read it somewhere. No.
Carlo.
Was it a bit? Well,
I thought it was a Buick Riviera.
I thought it was a bit. Yeah. I'm hoping in the whole movie, please don't crash that car.
No,
Please don't crash that car.
that car was nice.
Immaculate. I mean,
It is a Fontaine's car is a Dunbarton Green 1976 Pontiac Grand Prix.
Grand Prix.
man,
All of them were the same. The Riviera, the Grand Prix,
Yeah.
the Monte Carlo, they were all the same car. The grill was just different.
Yeah.
All right. So, Mark, what do you think happened when they got to Memphis? Is everybody on G's train?
I'm with G with that. I'm just saying they pulled out some of the major stars, because that's how you get everybody together.
Yeah.
You have a big barbecue in Orange Mound. Tell them what you're gonna do. Call up your boys in Little Rock. Call your boys up in the SIP. Hey, get everybody there.
So, in other words, we don't know. We don't know if what they were doing was successful. All we know is that the soundtrack gonna be banging.
Yes. Now that was another thing. That was one of the best soundtracks too.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw that out too.
Hey, but before anything, they went to Bill Street, get some barbecue, get they playing together. Then ride about 5 more miles down to Orange Mound.
And see, Memphis would be a perfect place for that because Gus's Chicken is all they talk about.
And listen, and right over the viaduct, that's West Arkansas. Man, I'm telling you. Right over the bridge is West Arkansas.
Hey, Derek, I'm gonna let you jump in here, but you could tell when somebody from the dirty when they call a bridge a viaduct. Let me tell you right now. If I say that outside, people, the viaduct, a bridge, small bridge. Derek, what do you think? What do you think happened when they got to Memphis?
I just think they probably would see more of the same. And I think they would probably even run into another Fontaine and another Jamie, and I don't think it's going to stop. I mean, the fact that they were in one location and then we see that Tyrone was all the way in California, what it looked like, it was so widespread. I just thought it'd just be more of the same.
Here's a question. Could there be a sequel to this movie?
I hope not.
So that's a great question, right? And so let me ask you this. It goes to what you just said, G. Would it be better as a sequel, or would it be better as like a Netflix series? Like a mini Netflix series, like 8 to 10 episodes.
I'd go with the series.
I would too, but if that's what this is gonna morph into, I think you shouldn't have did the movie. I would have liked it better as a movie as a part of the series. So, that movie could have been chopped in half. That had been episodes 1 and 2, and then, we go from there. I don't think this should be touched.
Okay.
I don't think this a sequel or a series.
So because I was going to ask you if you think it should be a series, to go ahead and pitch me the series, the sequel. Pitch me the sequel.
I don't.
So you think it's untouchable?
I think the sequel would have to be in California with Tyrone, maybe Tyrone and Fontaine somehow, or Tyrone sets out on this quest to go find Fontaine. after seeing him on TV, you know. But I don't know how you do that. I don't think this movie should be touched at all. I don't want to see it.
A prequel would be better, showing
That's what I was
how did it come about.
Exactly.
During
Yeah.
that process. I'll be more
Yeah.
interested in that than a continuation of what
Yeah.
takes place.
Okay, so from here on out, we're gonna have a category called prequel, sequel, or prestige TV. All right. So I agree with the prequel, because it'd be interesting to see how. Well, I don't know. What if the sequel was actually Tyrone in L.A.?
I mean,
But would you think you would see the same continuation of the same thing that we've already saw?
that's what.
No,
Yeah.
no. You know why? Because they cloned Tyrone. Why? No. Let me. Why did they clone Tyrone? Why was he the first? I get that's probably a prequel.
Well, I think that's the misnomer. I don't think he was the first.
Yeah.
I think it would just be another one
Yeah.
that came
I
before
think-
him.
I think he was the first.
I agree with you, Derek. I don't think he was the first,
No.
and I believe that it was strategically done that way to probably initiate these kind of conversations, because it could have easily been just called they cloned Fontaine, but that doesn't sound good. They cloned Tyrone Rhymes, and you don't find Tyrone until the end of the movie.
I get it.
I don't think he was the first either.
But Mark, they cloned Tyrone. He was the first. Do you agree?
I get what you're saying. I get it.
Right.
I think
So there was something about maybe Tyrone with a you know, he represents everything that his he represents everything that ails the black community, right? Whatever it is, whatever he does or whatever he did, he was like patient zero. He was like, you know, the first one to be cloned, or the first Tyrone at least to be cloned, right? Because I mean,
but we know that old Fontaine is the genetic scientist that did all the cloning. You know, we know that. So is there an old Tyrone running the labs in California? You know, and see how
I think so.
it
I think so. I mean,
it leaves too many questions unanswered.
What do you think was the premise of the light skinned guy with the fro, that he was in so many different?
Oh,
he represents.
What he represent?
He represented the move from he represents assimilation, right?
yeah.
Because the people in the tubes, literally the test tubes, were going from very dark to very light, right? From what we consider black to what we consider white. He was somewhere, you know, in there, and so I think he represents assimilation. He represents this move towards, you know, everybody being white.
And that's why they.
How would you differentiate who came first then, him or Tyrone?
Well, it'd be Tyrone. Mark, did we lose power?
I see you locked in on this.
Okay. And you know, because all the white characters in the movie all had afros.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that was the move. That was and they were all in positions of importance or authority.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the store clerk, the first guy that Slick Charles kills in the lab. The guy at the chicken place.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it was a good depiction of a pimp because any black pimp would always have a white woman in his stable.
Fucking hell.
I couldn't resist that. I didn't. I just wanted to say it.
Okay.
Hey, I had to go to my phone. This storm knocked the power out.
Yeah, that's what I figured that your power is out. We can see a still image, but we can still hear you. So we go with that now because we're getting close anyway.
This is scary too.
I'm thinking. So this is a good conversation because I just vehemently disagree with. I think Tyrone was the first because they cloned Tyrone. Right? I mean, I don't think I can't get past that.
Yeah, let it go, little daddy.
Okay, I'll let it go. All right, hey, it's been cool. It's been great. I dig this one.
Oh, I got a final parting shot.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get to that. So you know what? Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
No. I was just gonna start wrapping it up and just say that I'm looking for a theme for like the month of August, what we can do. You know, because I listen to this one podcast and they do these kind of movie review themes. They're doing one now that's called they're doing it for like courtroom month. So they have all the movies that are in the courtroom, like Few Good Men, yada yada yada, The Verdict, all these other things, and Justice for All. Anyway, so you guys start thinking about some type of theme for the month of August, and then we'll come up with something. To wrap this up, I'll just get some parting thoughts. And I know G, I want to end with you because I know you got something. But I'll start with Mark. What do you got, Mark?
I think it was a good movie. I think Jamie, to me, being the big star in this movie, I think they let him ad-lib a lot of his stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
agree.
And I enjoyed all of that. So, like I said before, the movie was okay. I'm not putting it down, but I like the movie. I'll say that.
You know why?
Out of 5 stars, I'll give it a 4.
You know why I know that you're right on that? If you go to YouTube and you put in "They Cloned Tyrone" bloopers, Jamie Foxx is just going to fuck off. I don't know how they got that movie made because the camera would have been constantly shaking because I've been laughing the whole time. Jamie Foxx was just so yeah. You're absolutely right. I think they on the script they say Fontaine says this, JoJo says this, Slick Charles, and it's just like ... Just run with it, Jamie. All right, Derek. Final thoughts.
Like I said, I didn't like it at first, but that movie really, really grew on me. I could pop that in on the daily and just get a good laugh. And I don't need to watch the entire movie. I could just hit the little key spots and just crack up laugh. I thought the other girl was funny. The other girl that knew Yo-Yo, I thought she was funny as well. I can't remember her name. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I just thought it was entertaining, and it showed everyone's pulling from. So I don't think it's anything new. They're pulling from old stuff, and it may be new to some of the audience, but I think the recipe that they pull from is something that's been done years back. There's nothing new about it. When I watched Drum, only thing I can think of, because I listened to Quentin Tarantino speak about his movies, and his mom was dating this black guy, and he always took him to these black movies. And that's where he got the inspiration from. So I'm wondering if he ever watched Drum, because Drum is nothing more than something that Django derived from.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Okay. Glove.
Yeah, he dislikes Quentin for his use of the N word in his movies and how Quentin and his white actors use the word excessively.
Thank you.
Um,
Thank you for that qualification because it is completely excessive to the point
I
where
would to the point where what it makes
to the
you
point where I just think that it's just just not needed. It's comical.
and to his point, maybe that's why he does. I don't know. I can't speak for the man, but
All right.
if Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, um, you know, the Hateful Eight, there isn't an excessive use of the N word in there. It's probably
Are
the
you
least
insane?
it's probably least used in that versus some of his other movies. Anyway,
Hey.
there's an actual Olympia Black. That's I think a science fiction author. Yes, that writes stories about humanity's relationship with aliens and artificial intelligence. So, um, again, it's just one more point where I think the writer and the director are paying homage to some of their favorite genres of movies, and actual people. So, kudos to them.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. I did enjoy this movie, man. I really did. I didn't think I was going to. As a matter of fact, if I'm being honest, I was hoping I didn't, so I can come back and just hammer you for suggesting it. And that's just me being just completely honest, man.
Yeah.
I was hoping I
That,
didn't like it.
that's what we do.
Yeah.
It's like Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Some shit you just ain't gonna ever let go of. I'm not anyway. I ain't ever let go of that. There's absolutely nothing.
And G, when we was
Yes,
talking
sir.
about the top 5 comedians, and who did he say?
Buddy Hackett.
Buddy Hackett.
I forgot about that.
Buddy Hackett. Mark, I would challenge you.
Yeah.
Once you get power sometime in the future, you go back and look at Buddy Hackett stand
up. You know what? I forgot all about that, Mark. That's a good pull. Yeah.
He ain't got nothing else to do with his time right now. I'm sure your phone is charged up. Shit, you might as well get on YouTube and look at some old Buddy Hackett stand up.